Welcome to Cocktail Hour. I'm Andy.
And I'm the Rev.
Here we are, episode 14. Hello, Rev.
Hello, Andy.
I am enjoying the Twatini. And I noticed that when you sent the recipe over from Colette, it didn't say the pink Twatini. Wasn't it the pink Twatini in the book?
It was, but I decided to change it since it's not pink, really. It's that deep cranberry color.
Yeah, kind of like the twat on the period. Oh! No, I didn't say that.
It's a red. It's the Red Wing Day.
Oh, Lordy.
But it tastes kind of like, what was the drink that we had before that had the Chambord and raspberry vodka?
I think it was the Fleur de Lis. Yeah.
And it's it tastes kind of similar to that.
But not as good.
I like this better.
No, you don't. Really?
I do. I think it's more, there's much more cranberry in it and less of the Chambord flavor. The raspberry, I remember talking about this before when we had the Fleur de Lis, that it has kind of the like cough medicine-y. It's the Chambord. It's the Chambord. So I think by using just 1 ounce of Chambord, plain vodka, and then the cranberry, I think it's much better for me.
Well, it's less sweet and less cloying.
Mm-hmm. And I like that. But I do like it. I do like it. But, I think, I got to give Colette props for coming up with this. But it's really not like a teeny. I expected something more martini-like.
Well, you could make it a martini. You could have put all this concoction in a shaker with ice and shook the hell out of it and put in a frozen martini glass.
That's true.
And it would have been a martini,
Maybe some fresh, a fresh strawberry or raspberry or two along the edge of the glass.
Sure.
Like, you remember like that peanut butter cup one that you sent me?
Oh, yeah. That peanut butter cup martini looks pretty damn tasty, I must say.
It does. I haven't tried it yet, but
yeah, neither.
Okay, so I give Colette I'm going to give her a B+.
Yeah, I would do that. I don't see myself drinking this one again, but it's a tiny bit refreshing. It's got a little bit of a good bite to it. It doesn't have that strong aftertaste, and it doesn't coat your tongue, so that works out really well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I like a see, there goes a joke with a twat and a coated tongue.
It just escaped you, did
it? I just couldn't pull it together in time. But I just started my drink, so
we'll pick this up again later. Maybe you can remember.
I'll try it again later. Okay, so do you want to give the ingredients? Or
sure.
I really did already.
You kind of did, yeah. It's an ounce, and a half ounce. So.
What?
The way you mixed it was an ounce of vodka, an ounce of Chambord, and a half ounce of cranberry juice.
No, mine. No.
No?
No.
I did it. I thought from memory. Okay. Well, my memory, as we all know, sucks. Okay. So what?
It's Hold on, I'm going to pull it up just so. Yeah. It's an ounce of vodka, an ounce of Chambord, and 2 ounces of cranberry.
Oh, I only have a half ounce of cranberry. Maybe that's why my
put some
drink.
more cranberry in there. See how you like it.
My drink tastes completely different than what Colette intended.
Well, see, maybe you'd give it a higher score if you did what you mixed it all together. Now, did you use? Now, it also calls for a cherry.
Oh no, I didn't want to. Nah.
I have 2 cherries in the bottom of mine, but mine didn't come with stems, so I wasn't able to tie a knot in them.
I don't think I don't think the maraschino cherries we have in the refrigerator have stems either. Come to think of it.
Yeah, crappy maraschino cherries. All right. Well, so yeah, the drink is a good success for me and a moderate success for you.
Well, and only because I messed up the. Okay. Here's the confession. My youngest brother came over today to drop off.
Is this the artist?
Yeah. To drop off a couple of things and pick up a couple of things, and in the meantime, we started talking, and he was in no hurry to get home, and so we put on the movie Inception. and watched that. And I did some cooking, we did some snacking, blah, blah, blah. And time ran away from us, and at about 10 to 8, I went, holy mackerel. So that's when I texted you and said I need another 30 minutes. And I had time to hurry up and clean the kitchen and lock everything up and make my drink. And I'm trying to think, okay, it's a drink, it's not that hard. It was 1.5. Okay, so I'm making that. And came upstairs. I didn't even check the iPad. Usually I'll pull it up and look at the iPad, but I remembered it wasn't a complicated drink. I just got the levels incorrect, but
that's all right.
Yeah. So yeah. Have you seen Inception? It's fabulous.
No, I have heard that it was very good. We're so far behind on our movie watching; it is disgusting. We just finally watched Shutter Island a week or two ago.
Oh, being on a Leonardo DiCaprio theme.
Yeah, and I enjoyed that quite a bit.
Yeah, it was good.
I had it figured out halfway through. So
well, of course you did.
Pretty good.
Mm-hmm. You're good at that. And speaking of figuring it out, our listeners will probably scratch their heads a little bit because when last podcast we announced what we were going to read and we changed it up a little bit.
We like to keep it fresh.
That's right. Keep it exciting. Lie. We are definitely sticking with The Secret History of Vampires. Mm-hmm. But we're going the second story. We're not doing Noemi because it's way too long. And although I've read it, Rev has not read it.
Yeah, and I've been crazy busy. So this one is. I'll take the hit on this one. It's I don't know what's going on, but I'm super hella busy. So yeah, so we decided instead to read something that we both already read.
Yep. We're going to our second story is going to be one of my favorites that I read online many years ago, and playing the role of herself. And online, the author's name is Dabkey, but she finally was able to get that story published under the name of K.E. Lane. Lane, sorry, sometimes my Florida accent comes out. So it's K.E. Lane, Lane. That was a mouthful, I tell you right now.
Oh, well, hold on. We do have one announcement.
We do?
We do.
Oh,
we have a book giveaway.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
How do I forget that? Damn.
Now, what I did is we didn't have enough entrants to really make the whole random number generator worthwhile. So I wrote everybody's name down, put everybody who entered. I put their name into my Milwaukee Brewers hat, asked my son if he wanted to pull a name. He said, no, thank you. And so my wife did it instead. And the winner is Pixiey.
Pixiey?
I swear it's true. It was 100% legit. Pixiey, you win. You are the winner.
Wow. Give it up for Miss Pix.
Woohoo!
All right, cool. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I think she had told me once that she never ever wins anything, but it was fair, and there you go. So congratulations, Pixiey.
Yeah.
And thank you to the other entrants for taking the time to email me, and that's great.
Yay.
Thank you.
Yay. I have a suspicion that, like a few of my friends have said to me in the past, that they find out what we're reading on the podcast, and they put that on their list and start reading it, and then they listen to the podcast. So, there's probably going to be a whole bunch of people that listen in about a month from now that are going to go, oh, damn, we missed the contest. Ah! Mm-hmm. So, yeah, you snooze, you lose.
That's right. If you need to follow us on Facebook, we've been announcing it regularly. But that's okay. I'm sure that we're going to have more giveaways. Andy and I were just talking about the possibility of getting some cocktail hour swag from Cafe Press, since we've got this super cool new logo, courtesy of Andy's youngest brother, the artist, and Colette Moody. Mm-hmm. So you never know what's going to happen.
Yep.
So keep listening.
That's right. Keep listening.
All right.
So how about we talk a little bit about, let's do the first book we do. Let's do the Windstar and Sea story.
Okay, excellent.
I went on to the Athenaeum and popped Windstar and Z on the author list and came up with, they have several stories out on the net, and all of them are fairly long.
Yes,
So
they are.
These gals have been writing for quite a while, and I think one or two of these are sequels, but nothing to do, I don't think, with. Oh yes, Chance is a sequel to Secret History of Vampires that we're going to talk about today. But
however, it doesn't have anything to do with the characters in The Secret History of Vampires, because I went looking as soon as I got done reading this. I was like, okay, I need some more now. And Chance, it's set kind of in the same type of universe, but I searched on, in iBooks, you're able to do a quick search, and Alexei was nowhere to be found. Oh. It's a completely different thing. And I understand that their other sequels are kind of like that. They're almost standalone-ish. I read Blood and Honor and then found out later that there were one or two stories in that series that I probably should have read first, but everything that they write apparently is fairly standalone.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I just want to make sure that the readers know that once you get done reading Secret History of Vampires, don't go getting excited that you're going to get more of Alexei and Katia, because you're not.
And that's the brutal truth.
All right, well, and you can the Athenaeum or Athenaeum, or however you want to pronounce it. When you look at their author page, you will see that their stories, many of them are available in an ebook format that you can download right from there.
Isn't that nice? That's really, really a sweet addition to the Athenaeum, and some of the other sites are doing it too, where you don't have to go to a separate website. You can just download it from there.
And that is fabulous, because I was on my lunch hour and I had finished The Secret History of Vampires, and immediately wanted more, and I was able to, on my iPhone, go and download it immediately into iBooks, and then become disappointed because it wasn't what I wanted. So why don't we go ahead and kick off?
All right. So you want to?
I'm sorry. I did want to tell you. I meant to tell you this last show. But I did go back to iBooks. I had been using Stanza, and you and I kind of chatted about that.
Yep.
And you said, but I'm pretty sure it will sync between the iPad and the iPhone if you set that up. And I was thinking to myself, I don't think so. I think it only does it with books that you buy from the iBookstore. And then maybe you even have to do the sync and all of that crap. And I was wrong. You were right. It's all I'm using now, and it syncs automatically. I can have my iPad on and my iPhone on. Turn on the book on one of them. It will automatically update it. Mm-hmm. In seconds. So
it's sweet.
Kudos to you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And okay, so you ready for the summary?
I am. Take her away.
The Secret History of Vampires from Windstar and Z. The main characters are Alexei, who's a master vampire, and Katia, who is a former pickpocket and lock picker, who's trying to get away from her old life and lead a good, honest life working in some factory, making pots and pans in Russia, and she's not having a good time of it. Alexei and Katia have a couple of run-ins. There's an obvious attraction, and pretty quickly into the book, Katia agrees to become one of Alexei's pets. There are some petty jealousies with an existing pet and some vamp children, along with conspiracies involving a vampire prince. And there's a lot of there's some mystery and some action and some sex and there you go.
Very nice.
Okay, go ahead, take it away.
All right. First, I have to tell you, I really did enjoy this story. The first time I read it, and this just recent time I read it. It's a nice little escape. The only problem, well, there's a few problems I had with it, but one of the things that really jumped out at me early on in this story was how damn wimpy the master vampire was. I mean, she may have, been evil and scary and bloodthirsty and frightening, 30 decades ago, or 3 centuries ago. But now she's just kind of like, I don't know, she's just disenchanted with her whole living situation, and all she is just kind of moody, which was kind of irritating.
Yeah. I had a few problems with it. Again, storyline was really good. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the characters. I'm going to say this right out, and maybe then I'd like to talk about this with you. Even though it was not a Xena Uber, technically the characters didn't look anything like. Physically, their hair and eyes didn't, but the way they interacted with each other, and the Katia never shutting up and disobeying Alexei constantly, and
trouble following her.
Yeah, the food issues, and honestly, Alexei seemed very, very much to me the redemption-seeking Xena. The way that they interacted, Alexei let Katia get away with things. I mean, they said it repeatedly throughout. Anybody else would have been beaten or tortured or what have you. So I don't know, does that maybe put a different twist on how you feel about Alexei and her wimpiness?
No, not really.
Not really?
Because first and foremost, they're vampires. Thank you. But I think that Katia definitely was the essence of Gabrielle. There's no doubt. I think they got that archetype spot on. But I don't think they did as well with Alexei. I just found her to be disappointing as far as vampires go. Because they made several mentions that, that if they don't get blood, their basic nature takes over. Like, she doesn't have a soul. So the redemptive Xena thing just didn't work for me.
Yeah. The thing I think that threw me off the most was the awkward sentence structure and the complete lack or misuse of commas. And using wrong words. Like, there's one sentence that they're going into the up to the gate or the house for the first time. Oh, and the other thing is, there seemed to be some things that I couldn't get a good grasp on the time frame. There were some popular culture references that definitely wouldn't come into play until, maybe 30 or 40 years later than whenever this was supposed to have been.
Yeah.
Silly misuses of words, like talking about a gate, the gate sensing her opened. The 2 large stone gargoyles seemed to follow her with hollow black eyes from where they sat on stone pillars, framing the orientate metal gate. I believe that was supposed to be ornate. I mean, just a lot of stuff that I don't know if a beta looked at this or not.
I do believe I read somewhere. I don't know if it's one of their little author notes or intros that I think the 2 writers are European, maybe, and I don't think English is their first language.
Okay, well then, I mean, I can give that a slide, but it was still distracting to me. I mean, I like the story. I like the interplay between the characters, and you're right. Alexei she just seemed tired and overly sensitive, and you're right. There wasn't any of that deep vampire. What am I trying to say?
Yeah.
That innate. I don't know.
You didn't feel her struggle with her vampiric nature versus trying to be someone that would have a soul, if you will. It wasn't really there.
Yeah, and maybe that was their point, that she was over it really, and she had already mastered some of the things that like sunlight and or sleeping during when staying awake when it's light and things like that.
Yeah, but not for a long period. She was just able to do it for a little while when everybody else just drops.
Yeah. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed Blood and Honor more. But once I got into it, and I'll be honest, I tried reading this. This was the third time I'd attempted to read it. The first two times I could not. I read the first few pages and put it down.
Yeah. Well, once you get past some of the really obvious flaws, it's still a fun read. I mean, it still is a nice little escape piece that if you like vampire stories or even just, like, a little bit of the supernatural, I mean, it's a fun read.
Yeah, Katia by far was my favorite, and the whole intrigue with the other pet.
What was her name?
Molly.
Oh, I just want to rip her eyes out.
Yeah, but I mean, it was so transparent.
Yes, it was. It was really transparent.
And for Alexei not to have, just kind of let that go between Molly and Sergei, just kind of letting those things go. It just seemed ridiculous.
This goes back to the wimpy vampire, because Sergei and Molly should have just been put down ages ago. It should not. And then Matvey, or whatever the hell the librarian's name was.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. He just sits there all damn day long and reads. Come on. There's better uses for his ass. What the hell?
Well, he did other stuff later, but, I mean, he whined about it the whole time.
Yeah. It just, it was still good. I'm trying not to take away from it. It was still good, but there were definite, there some characters were just not really well developed, and maybe the plot, I guess they didn't want to get too deep or too mired down, and so they made it kind of in some ways a lighthearted romp with a little blood and a little destruction.
Mm-hmm. And it was that, and once and again, once I got about halfway through, I got very used to the sentence structure and the incorrect words and things like that. I mean, there's a lot of that on the online fiction, and you go into it expecting that, but for some reason it took me a bit longer to adjust to it on this one.
Yeah.
But I really like Katia and her attitude, and she really did try to. Oh, and we didn't even talk about the vampire hunter.
Oh yeah, she was just a nuisance. She was, and I'm, I can see why the authors put that character in there, but that chick was no offspring of Van Helsing, that's for damn sure.
No, but it added some. What was her name? Teresa. It added a little bit more tension to it. With the whole, I like the kissing part. It's at least I'm the better kisser, right? Well, you're a very good kisser.
Yeah. There were some cute lines. There's no doubt.
Yeah, it was still an enjoyable read. I think I expected more after I finally got into it. Yeah. I expected it to be better than it was because I had heard so many good things about it. I'd had at least 4 people tell me that it was great, one of their favorites, so I expected a bit more. I think if I had got into it with the expectation of just picking something up and not really knowing that much about it, I think I probably would have enjoyed it more.
Yeah, you're probably right. And I got a couple of spoilers I want to talk, a couple things I want to talk about that are going to be spoilers. So people are listening, if you don't want to hear spoilers, plug your ears for a couple of minutes. I thought there were 2 things about this story that were inspired. One of them was the house itself.
That was cool.
I thought that was the most awesomest thing ever. I have never seen. I mean, the house was alive, and that was really cool. And not just in your typical ghostly fashion. I mean, this thing would open up holes in the floor to suck people down under, on command. I mean, that was really interesting. I really like that.
Yeah, that was good. And when she, and until she had explained that, until Alexei had explained that, I was like, why is the gate opening on its own?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's no way that they had any kind of sensors or anything like that, and the clothes being laid out, and when the floor opened up, it took me a few minutes. Like, what the fuck? So yeah, that was good. What's the other thing?
The other one was, and not that this is extremely unique, but the way the writers fashioned this idea for their own story, I thought was a nice little spin. Was the wolf or dog that could morph into a man, and that based on some kind of I don't remember what it was. Was it a token or a stone or something that Katia had?
It was a part of the horn that had called them.
Yep, that's right. That was basically held this animal's soul or this entity's soul, and I just thought that was really neat. The origins of this hound and what it was able to do and became like pretty much adopted Katia's clan. Just the whole idea, how they worked it, was just great.
Yeah, that was, and yeah, absolutely, and there was a lot of humor in that part as well.
Yeah, the dangling man bits.
Between him and Katia, and when he's in dog form, how he whimpers, and and Fiona, the former pet, that was pretty interesting also.
Yeah. So it's it was pretty interesting too how I remember when they Katia, Alexei, and what was the hound's name?
Oh, I knew you were going to ask that. Like Vladin or hold on.
Yeah, something.
I'll find out.
Remember when they went on that midnight caper to break into that office?
Yeah, that was cool.
I got to laugh out of some of their dialogue. How you expect the dog? I mean, he would, because he was in hound form. How he would try to express his disappointment or irritation, and it was just really quite funny. It was almost like hijinks ensued when they broke in.
It was, yeah. His name is Vidar.
Vidar, yeah, that was it.
Very cool. Yeah, I liked him. I do have to say that the end just screamed for a sequel. I wrote down that I found the ending was almost as frustrating as Nightshade.
Oh, yeah, wasn't that frustrating?
I had that same feeling of dread as I'm watching the pages tick down, tick down, and there's no resolution. I mean, I guess the ending was okay, but just like, what the fuck?
Well, there's a good and bad in that. The good news is Pixiey told us that she sent an email to the authors last year, and they said they were working on a sequel. That's the good news. The bad news is if they hold true to the way they write sequels, we'll never know what the hell happened with at the end of this one.
Yeah, but if they do come out with one, and I do plan on reading Chance, which from what I gathered focuses on werewolves.
I read Chance a very, very long time ago, so I really can't tell you what it's about.
Oh, it's about werewolves.
Well, I mean, besides the obvious that you just stated. Thank you, smart ass. Oh yeah.
All right, so I think we both agree Secret History of Vampires has its issues, but it's still worth the read.
Yep, I would agree with that strongly.
Excellent. Anything else you want to say about that one?
No, I think we covered it.
Excellent. Okay. So moving on to and playing the role of herself by Dabke or K.E. Lane. You got me pronouncing it badly now. and playing the role of herself is about Cadence Harris plays a detective in a hit cop show. The other main character is Robin Ward. She plays kind of a slimy defense attorney on a sister show. Kate has had a crush on Robin since the first time they met. Robin is also she's dating for years this gorgeous tennis star named Josh Riley. So Cade, who's recently, well, they said 3 years, but then she refers to that as recent. She's just kind of acknowledged that she's a lesbian, but she hasn't acted on that yet, and so she thinks she doesn't have a chance with Robin. As they get to know each other, Kate kind of finds out that she may actually have a shot. And then there's a lot of drama
Mm-hmm.
But also some good humor and good writing and okay, there you go.
Wow, that was brief.
We could just talk about it instead. So that's the thing. There's a lot of good characters. They have some good secondary characters. And it's kind of like it's kind of like, this is the way I felt about it, and I've read it 3 times. I read the online version twice, and then I picked up a copy of the published book a few days ago from Rainbow eBooks while they were having one of their sales, and I noticed no difference. None. So if anybody else noticed a difference, let me know. But I read the online version not that long ago, maybe a month or so ago, and then now I've just read this one, and I didn't notice any difference. I noticed a handful of errors that made me want to go back to the online version and see if they were in there too. But there are a lot of good. So what I was saying is it reminded me of a kind of an SVU sort of Uber, except if it was the characters playing them, like Cadence, I could see Mariska Hargitay,
Mm-hmm.
and Robin, I actually saw as I can't remember her name now, but she was on SVU, and now Angie Harmon. That's who I saw as Robin. Kind of. So if they were in this, I don't know, those were the images I had in my head of them.
I got no point of reference. I don't watch that show.
Well, there you go.
Okay.
So you want to go?
The first time I read this story was the online version, and once it came out in paperback, I bought it, and that is something I encourage very much our listeners to. If you read something online and you like it, please, especially if the author is leaving the online version up, please support them and buy a book or the ebook version, because it's very easy for them to take it down so that it can't be read anymore for free. So if you can afford it, please buy the book and support the author. That said, I did love this story. I really, really do. Even though it has a whole lot of dancing around between Kate and Robin, and some of the things that were frustrating to me is how they just couldn't sit down and fucking communicate and get straightened out early. So that kind of drove me nuts. And they kept having these lapses into insecurity or something. I don't, And,
but hold on, I want to stop you there, because I don't think it was just them dancing around. I think that there were some very legitimate reasons why Robin would pull away, and where there was that distrust. They kind of go into that whole thing where she had fallen in love when she was like 23, something like that, and the woman had just really been playing games with her the entire time.
Okay, but still, take them out of their Hollywood setting, and that could be anybody.
Right, but I'm just saying. But I don't. I think it's more. I think that there were some legitimate psychological issues.
Oh, I'm not saying there weren't, but it just seemed to me
just like where they were, like where usually it's like, just put on your big girl pants and step up. I think it was more to it than that.
Well, that's probably because I'm older and, I'm all about let's just lay the cards on the table early because, I'm just too old for that shit.
Yeah.
But they're supposedly, I think, in their early to mid-30s, I think. So, yeah, it's a time of angst. So, they're trying to all recover from the bullshit they went through in their 20s.
Right.
I really thought that Liz character was a hoot. Now, she's a secondary character. But she her little Southern Belle routine. There was bitchy Liz, and then there was
charming Liz.
Charming Liz. And I like how the author makes the distinction when she's talking about when she slips into one of those roles. Mm-hmm. Let me think. What else? Oh, I really thought it was kind of cool how everybody thought that Cade met some untimely end when she went out for a little, let's get away from the city, let's just kind of have a little downtime for me, and all kinds of strange and unusual happenings and twists of fate made the police think that she met with a foul play. That was pretty funny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was actually, I mean, there were 3 incidences of potential harm, real or potential harm happening to Cade, and those were the 3 times when Robin really exposed herself emotionally to Cade,
yep.
and then would almost immediately kind of pull back and that that was the main drama.
Yeah, it was classic push me pull you.
One of the things I really loved about this is the author's sense of humor. When they were talking about Liz and Cade in the beginning of the book, Cade is coming to realize that she really does have a serious crush on Robin, and she one of the first things that they talk about, or that she talks about in regard to how Cade deals with how she reacts to being close to Robin, is that she mostly just giggles and sounds like a 12-year-old.
Oh, it says things. Yeah, it says things that are completely inappropriate.
Yeah,
that was pretty good. Oh, and one of the other really cool aspects of it that caught Liz off guard is when they were having that little press junket, and one of the reporters or paparazzi asked them if they were aware there was a bunch of fan fiction out on the net that had Liz and Cade's characters, doing like fem slash, and like Liz was just like, I could just see her up there, like eyes just large as saucers and an O mouth, like what? Like completely took her by surprise.
Yeah, she wants to sue them, and then Kate pulls some up in the limo on the way back, and she's like, "Oh, this is good." And that actually that's the catalyst for Robin's character Judith and Cade's character Rita. They become a couple, a fledgling couple on the show. Which creates a lot of tension and a lot of speculation and things like that. But the line I wanted, or the thing that I wanted to talk about, was when Cade and Liz are in hair and makeup, and Liz is trying to figure out what Cade's secret is, because she's figured out that maybe Robin does like me a little bit, and she comes into the makeup area whistling and happy, and she's not known for that. And Liz is like, "Oh, what's going on?" It's that extra. It's the extra that's playing the barista. And Kate thinks to herself something about, "Oh God, these are the biggest gossips around. I'm going to end up with rumors going around that I'm screwing the barista extra with a monkey." And then there were some the rumors going around that it was her, the barista extra, and a goat.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, I
People
do. It was, and there was a lot of would they like making sheep sounds or something around her for a while.
Yeah, somebody else had it says, finally my goat-loving days appeared to be over. Maybe people would stop bleeding behind my back and joking about goat cheese sandwiches during lunch. but she really does have a lot of great one-liners and a lot of really witty internal dialogue, and I like that a lot.
Yeah, she did a really good job with it. There's no doubt. I found the last peril that Cade went through. Mm-hmm. It almost felt a little forced and a little rushed to me.
Yeah, I think that goes to the whole, every time that there's a major drama, where Cade can be, first it was the mountain bike accident and Robin rushes right over. Mm-hmm. That was the first really big sign that there was something there. Mm-hmm. And then the fake disappearance, and, Robin is distraught. And then the last one, which I was wondering actually if that would have, I was very curious to see if that would have been cut out from the published book, because I kind of felt that way, how you do, in the it just seemed over the top. Mm-hmm. That there could have been another way than just a more and more drama on Cade.
Yeah, poor Cade. She's like the whipping girl.
Literally.
That's what I mean.
You know what was good though was the contrast between Robin's sister Trish and Robin's mom.
Oh yeah, they were like diametrically opposed in personality. Mm-hmm.
Robin's mom is happy with, and just knows right away. Robin's very much in the closet with her family. And one sister is accusing Cade of trying to steal the boyfriend away, and the mom says, "You know what? Bring my daughter's smile back. I think I can see that you care for her. She obviously cares for you. And I enjoyed that part of it. I think that if I think that the final abusive thing that happens to Cade, I agree with you. I think that was just maybe a bit much, and then maybe a little more focus on the family. And
yeah, I liked her. I liked Robin's mom. I thought she was the bomb. But yeah, it's very, very good read. Very good read. I think that's it. I just don't want to do. I don't want to be too detailed because. It's like once you start giving spoilers, you can't help but go on a roll, Yeah. And I don't want to do that because I want at least some people that might not have read this story yet to hopefully be intrigued enough, even though we were kind of like taking the scenes out of sequence, if you will, but that they're intrigued enough to want to read it.
No, my brain just stopped, that's all.
Well, mine did. Well, mine starts and stops all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, well. You gotta learn to live within the confines,
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
So, yeah, that was a fun read. It was, and I actually bought the paperback version a while back and have it sitting on my shelf, but I have not read the paperback version. But now that you tell me that the e-book version is the same as the online version, I'll just have it on my shelf and just happy as a clam that I have it. So...
Yeah, I didn't notice any difference, and there are a lot of stories that are like that, and it doesn't make me feel bad about buying them. Like the L.J. Moss books, I didn't. Well, at least None So Blind. There was I didn't see a single anything different in that, and it was the same for this.
Yeah, but like I said, let's support the authors. I know they're not getting rich in the niche market, but still, I think it's a great way to say thank you for entertaining me.
Absolutely. And there was a character in this book named Micah, and that's the name of my kid, so,
Yep. Micah made an appearance in another story, too. But we won't talk about that.
What?
Micah made an appearance in another book, but we won't talk about that.
I've seen that name in a couple ones. Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. And,
Yeah, but we're moving on.
I don't feel bad about, giving that a plug. You want to give it a plug?
No, you can go ahead. I'm too modest.
All right. Well, our dear Andy is also known as Peyton Andrews, and I was kind of taken by surprise because I get regular, my passion and passion and perfection.
Yep.
See, I'm almost done with my drink now.
Time for now.
My passion and perfection site update, and I scroll through there whenever I get one, hoping for some new Bad Girls or some new Xena, new SVU, and lo and behold, in the original section is Tango and Foxtrot by Peyton Andrews. I'm like, get the fuck out of here! So everybody can run over to Passion and Perfection and check it out.
Well, you know what happened with that, don't you?
No, what happened with that?
They made a plea on Facebook. And apparently they were down on their story counts. They like to get so many new stories out a year. And they were down on their accounts. And so they said, please, 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 anybody got any short stories or novels or whatever, just send them over. We're low. We're done. So I'm like, okay, fine. So I packaged them up, put them on an email, and sent them over there. And I profusely apologized in the email that I didn't follow whatever their format was. Because I'm sure, like every website has a different submission requirements. I didn't even read it. I just put them right through, and either post them or don't post them. Whatever's your pleasure. But I'm just trying to help out the cause.
She did. She absolutely posted them, and Rachel. And we talked about this on the last show. Rachel is she's really done a lot for the Fem/ community. In addition to Passion and Perfection, she also runs Fem/ World, and she started International Day of Fem/ and Fem/ Con. Passion and Perfection has that website, but then they also have a live journal community, which is incredibly active. Insanely active.
No kidding.
If you're a big fan of Fem/ and you're not familiar with Passion and Perfection, you're really, really missing out. I mean, thousands of stories, lots of challenges, and you've got authors that you recognize right off the bat, like Del Robertson, Portia Richardson, just Peyton Andrews.
Names you recognize, Peyton Andrews. Oh, and since we're talking about Peyton Andrews, can I just say to those that are listening out there that these two particular stories that are out, they really started, the genesis of the story started as a PWP challenge. So don't expect it to be some rock your world awesome short story.
Don't sell yourself short.
I'm just saying. I mean, they're not. They're just little playful romps. I don't want somebody to think it's like the deep meaning of life in these things.
Well, there was some deep something in there, but I don't know if it was the meaning of life. But I think somebody may have been calling to God a few times.
The source of life, perhaps.
Perhaps.
Oh, Lordy.
Perhaps.
Okay.
Well, let me see. Hold on one second. Oh, I was just looking at some of my notes. Both of these stories, we just don't seem very verbose tonight. But both of the stories were good. They each had some issues. But I mean, to be honest with you, I would read The Secret History of Vampires again. Mm-hmm. And for me to want to read something that had that many issues and still want to read it again, I think the story was just very good. I like their writing. I like the way they think together. Mm-hmm. I've not read anything of theirs separately, so I don't know, if one is stronger than the other or whatever.
Do they write separately?
Yeah, they do.
Ah.
If you go to PDA Fiction, which I'm not going to do right now, but they each have their own listing, and then they each have in that they have a section, collaborating with.
Oh, sweet.
The others. So, if any of the listeners have more information on other stories by them, stop by the Facebook page or the forum, or shoot us an email, because I'd be interested. I really, really enjoyed Blood and Honor, and I didn't think that I would. But it was it's more of a fighting swords.
I know I've read it years ago. I just don't remember a damn thing about it.
I really liked it. I liked it very much, and do recommend it. And playing the role of herself, I read it. It was one of the first Uber stories, one of the first original stories that I had read, and I loved it. I really did. And I like I said, that this is the third time I've read it, and I know that I'll read it again. I led the characters. I thought were great. I really liked them. I could feel those insecurities, and that doesn't bother me. Sometimes it's a bit much. I didn't think it was in this one so much. I mean, I guess I can see where it did with Robin, but then, as you're getting, I don't know, what was like maybe 2/3 through, and then you find out about the woman that just totally messed her up, and then I felt a little bit better about her lack of trust and her insecurities, and
I don't know. I still think it was a little blown out of proportion, because, I mean, who hasn't had their heart stomped on at least once?
Yeah, but this was like the only time that she had ever been in love, and then to have the woman laugh at her, and it was just all a big joke, and two, I think if you think about the industry that they work in, and like she had even said, Kate says, "I love you," and she says, "I don't know how long it'll take for me to get used to that, or to get used to this," and Kate says something along the lines of someone saying that they love you, and her saying, "No, me being able to believe it." I mean, they're rich, they're beautiful, they're famous, they've got people hanging off of them, trying to use them for whatever it is that they feel that they can gain.
Yeah.
I think that in itself would be enough to stir up some insecurities and so have, encourage you to have some trust issues.
All right, I'll go with you on that.
Okay. I feel better now. Okay. But still, I think it was still a little bit over the top.
Yeah.
But still really good, and one of my favorites, and I really like it. And I would put and playing the role of herself in like maybe my top 10.
Top 10, huh?
I don't know. Someday I might have to sit down and actually do that, because then it may drop down to the top 20, because there are so many really good ones. I don't know. Maybe we should. We should try and do that.
It would, maybe it would definitely fall in my top 20. I don't know that it would break the top 10, but
I'm almost to the cherries, just so you know.
You might need another drink.
I'm going to.
It's yeah. Can you believe we've been talking for just about an hour?
It's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, really, time just right out. It's like blink, it's gone.
Oh my gosh! Well, we had two good stories. They had their issues, but ultimately very good, and I certainly recommend both of them.
Yep.
Particularly and playing the role of herself. So since we didn't get to do Noemi this week or this show, we are going to move that to the next one.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. Along with Mavis Applewater's Everlasting series. It's been fun, Rev.
Yes, I have had a wonderful time. I enjoyed my drink. I enjoyed the stories. I enjoyed your company. Thank you.
Well, thank you back. It's a love fest.
Yay.
All right, and thank you all for listening, and tune in 2 weeks.
Adios.
Ciao.